My sisters laughed when I chose the rundown farm over cash. A year later, when the dam turned it into a shipping goldmine, they saw their $2 million blunder. I stood under the crooked eaves of Pa's old barn, the wind tugging at my hair as it howled through the splintered boards. The farm sprawled around me, 50 acres of tangled weeds and cracked earth, the tractor frozen in rust where Pa had parked it years ago. Willow Bend stretched beyond, a sleepy dot of a town fading into the horizon. My sisters, Clara and Evelyn, flanked me, their polished shoes sinking into the mud, their faces tight with impatience. Pa had died last month, and today we'd heard his will, $900,000 in savings split 3 ways, and this beat-up farm, valued at a measly $60,000 by some slick county assessor. "Lydia, you can't be serious," Clara said, her voice cutting like a lawyer's gavel. She adjusted her coat, the kind that cost more than Pa's tractor ever did. "Take the $300,000 and let this place collapse. It's worthless." Evelyn, all sharp edges and real estate swagger, laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "A money pit. You'd be lucky to unload it for parts." I kicked at a clump of dirt, feeling the weight of their stares. They'd built their lives far from here, Clara in Chicago, Evelyn in Denver, while I'd stayed, tending Pa through his coughing fits, planting seeds that barely grew. "You two take the cash," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. "I'm keeping the farm." Their eyes widened, then narrowed. "Sentimental fool," Clara snapped, her diamond earrings flashing as she shook her head. "You'll come crawling to us when it fails." Evelyn smirked. "Good luck feeding nostalgia to the bank." I didn't budge. This land was Pa's soul, where he'd shown me how to mend fences, where we'd sat on the porch counting stars, his rough hand on my shoulder. It wasn't just dirt, it was us. They didn't get it, never had. Clara huffed, already turning away. "Your funeral." Evelyn followed, muttering about my stupidity, their footsteps fading toward their rental car. I stayed, the barn creaking behind me, alone with the ghosts of Pa's dreams and a choice they'd never understand. They thought I was clinging to the past. They were wrong. The kitchen table was a mess of papers when I sat down that night, the farmhouse quiet except for the hum of crickets outside. Clara and Evelyn were gone, back to their high-rise lives, leaving me with the farm and a flicker of something I hadn't told them. I pulled out the maps I'd stashed in Pa's old trunk, creased, coffee-stained, marked up from years of sneaking into county meetings. Willow Bend's river ran through them, wild and flood-prone, but I'd heard whispers at those meetings. The Army Corps of Engineers was eyeing a dam upstream. If it went through, that river would calm down, deepen, become a shipping lane, maybe even draw tourists. And our farm? It sat smack on the bend where docks could rise. My pulse quickened as I traced the lines, imagining barges unloading, people strolling, the land alive again. I flipped open Pa's ledger next, the one he'd left me with the will. His spidery handwriting filled the margins, notes about water levels, soil drainage, a sketch of a dock scratched in pencil. At the bottom, he'd scrawled, "Lydia'll know what to do." My throat tightened. Pa had seen it too, this chance to turn the farm into something more. He'd never said it outright, too stubborn, maybe too sick by the end, but he'd trusted me with it. That trust felt like a warm hand on my back, pushing me forward, even as doubt chewed at me. What if the dam was just talk? What if I sank everything into this and it fell apart? I shook it off and dialed Jake, my old high school buddy who'd stuck around town running a construction crew. He showed up the next morning, his pickup rattling into the yard. I spread the maps across the porch table, pointing out the river's curve. "If the dam happens, this spot's gold," I said. "I want to fix the barn, clear the fields, build a dock, get ready." Jake rubbed his jaw, squinting at the plans. "Big risk, Lydia." "You got the cash?" I nodded, though my $20,000 in savings, scraped from years of waitressing and fixing neighbors' fences, felt like pocket change against what I'd need. "Enough to start," I lied, hoping my voice didn't waver. He studied me, his brown eyes steady. You're betting on a rumor. It's more than that, I shot back, tapping Pa's ledger. The Corps has been surveying for months. I've got their reports, flood studies, timelines. It's real. Jake whistled low. You've been busy. What's the play? Restore the barn first, I said, picturing it. New roof, reinforced walls, make it a storage hub. Then the fields, with corn and soybeans to sell while we wait. The docks last, once the dam's confirmed. He nodded, flipping through my notes. Solid, but it'll take work. And money. I'll figure it out, I said, though my stomach twisted. That $20,000 wouldn't stretch far, lumber alone could eat half, but I couldn't back down now. Pa's words echoed, Lydia'll know what to do. I had to trust he was right. Jake agreed to start next week, promising a fair rate for old time's sake. After he left, I walked the property, boots crunching on dry grass. The barn loomed ahead, its red paint peeling like old skin. I ran my hand along its side, feeling the rough grain, remembering Pa hoisting me up to stack hay bales. This wasn't just about money, it was about bringing his farm back, proving it wasn't the wreck Clara and Evelyn saw. But the numbers gnawed at me. I'd need loans, maybe investors, and every step risked losing it all if the dam fell through. That night, I sat on the porch, the river glinting under the moon. I'd spent years in this town, invisible to most, quiet Lydia, Pa's shadow. But I'd listened, learned, scribbled notes while the county droned on about budgets and projects. Clara and Evelyn thought I'd stayed out of weakness, but they didn't know I'd been building something in my head all along. The dam wasn't a sure thing yet, just a proposal, a stack of papers in some engineer's office, but I felt it in my bones, the way Pa must have. I hugged the ledger to my chest, its leather cool against my skin. I won't let you down, I whispered, half to Pa, half to myself. The river murmured back, dark and restless, holding secrets I was betting everything to unlock. Clara and Evelyn could keep their cash, I had a plan, a spark they'd never see coming. Now I just had to make it real. The sun was barely up when Jake's crew rolled in, their trucks kicking up dust across the farm. I'd spent the week clearing junk, rusted tools, broken crates, my hands blistered but my heart pounding with purpose. The barn came first. Hammers rang out as they tore off the rotted roof, replacing it with sturdy beams, the kind that could hold a future I was chasing. I worked alongside them, hauling lumber, planting corn in the fields, the soil cool and gritty under my nails. By day 10, the barn stood taller, its fresh red paint glowing against the gray sky. Townsfolk drove by slow, heads shaking. Lydia's lost it, I heard old Mr. Hensley mutter at the gas station. Throwing good money at a dead farm. I ignored them, picturing Pa's grin if he could see it. Then Clara hit. A letter arrived midweek, crisp and official, from her law firm in Chicago. She'd filed a lien on the farm, claiming I'd manipulated Pa into changing the will, said he wasn't in his right mind when he left it to me. My stomach dropped. I'd shown Tom, our family lawyer, Pa's ledger, proving his intent, but Clara didn't care about truth. She wanted me to fold. The legal fees hit fast, $10,000 gone from my savings just to fight it, leaving me with a thin $10,000 cushion. Anger flared hot in my chest. She'd always looked down on me, the sister who didn't escape, but this was a knife in the back. I called Tom, voice shaking. Can she do this? He sighed. She's fishing, Lydia, but it'll cost you to prove her wrong. I hung up, fists clenched, staring at the barn. I wouldn't let her win. The next blow came quieter, sneakier. I'd ordered lumber and seed from Carter's Supply, enough to finish the fields and start the dock frame. They'd promised delivery Friday. Friday came, and nothing. I called, and Mr. Carter hemmed and hawed. Heard you're strapped, Lydia. Can't risk it unless you pay up front. I frowned. We had a deal, credit terms, same as always. He mumbled something about rumors and hung up. It clicked later, overhearing gossip at the diner. Evelyn had called around, whispering I was broke, unreliable. Suppliers clammed up, Carter's, the feed store, even the hardware guy. My throat burned with betrayal. She'd poisoned my name to choke me out. I didn't crumble. I bartered instead, traded my old pickup to a neighbor for lumber, swapped eggs from Pa's last hens for seed. Jake's crew kept going, their faith in me a lifeline. "You're tougher than they think," he said one evening, handing me a coffee as we watched the sun dip. I managed to smile, but inside, I seethed. Clara's lean was greed, Evelyn's rumors were spite. They wanted me broken, back in their shadow. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. The fields started to green up, tiny corn shoots poking through. I walked them at dusk, the river glinting nearby, its current fast and muddy. The dam was still a whisper, no official word, but I clung to it, to Pa's notes, to the hope that kept me swinging a hammer when my arms ached. The barn was nearly done, a solid shell ready for storage, maybe more. I'd sketched the dock plans myself, late at night, imagining boats tying up, crates stacking high. But money was bleeding out, legal bills, bartered goods, Jake's crew. I'd need a loan soon, and banks didn't love gambles like mine. One night, I found a photo in Pa's desk, him and me, knee-deep in the river, fishing poles in hand. I was 8, grinning gap-toothed. He'd said, "This land's tough, Lydia, but so are we." Tears pricked my eyes. Clara and Evelyn didn't know that toughness, they'd run from it. Now they were clawing at me, trying to steal what I'd fought to keep. I tucked the photo in my pocket, resolve hardening. The farm wasn't just Pa's dream anymore, it was mine, and I'd build it up, lean or no lean, rumors be damned. By week's end, the barn stood proud, the fields half-planted. Jake clapped my shoulder. "Looking good. What's next?" "The dock," I said, voice firm. "Soon as I get supplies." He nodded, but his eyes flicked to the empty road, no delivery trucks in sight. Evelyn's sabotage lingered like a storm cloud. I turned to the river, its roar a challenge. Clara could tie me up in court, Evelyn could turn the town against me, but I'd find a way. Pa had believed in this land, in me. I wouldn't let their games bury that. The barn gleamed under a rare clear sky, its new roof catching the morning light as I paced the yard, waiting for a bank loan officer. My $10,000 was nearly gone, legal fees from Clara's lien and bartered deals had gutted it, but the fields were sprouting, and the dock sketches burned a hole in my pocket. Word about the dam was spreading. I'd caught developers eyeing the riverbank from the road, their fancy cars idling too long. One offered $200,000 cash last week, a slick guy in a tie who didn't blink when I said no. "You'll regret it," he'd warned, but I saw bigger than his check. The farm could be a hub, not a handout. I just needed cash to keep going. Clara showed up unannounced that afternoon, her SUV crunching gravel as I hauled water to the corn rows. She stepped out, power suit pristine, her eyes cold. "Sell, Lydia," she said, "no hello, no soft edges. You're in over your head debts, no supplies. Take the $200,000 and walk." I wiped sweat from my brow, meeting her stare. "Not interested." Her lips thinned. "You're delusional. This farm's a sinkhole." I turned back to the field, but her next words stopped me cold. "I got the county to hold up your dock permits, environmental review, they're calling it. Could take months, maybe a year." My heart sank. She'd pulled strings, used her lawyer clout to stall me. "Why?" I demanded, voice raw. She shrugged. "You don't deserve this. It's ours too." I watched her drive off, fury boiling over into something sharp and jagged. The permits were my lifeline, without them, the dock was dead, and the dam's promise stayed out of reach. I stormed to the house, slamming the door so hard the hinges groaned. My savings were toast, suppliers still shunned me thanks to Evelyn, and now this. I sank into Pa's old chair, head in my hands. Had I misread it all? Was Clara right, me, drowning in a dream too big? The room felt heavy, the walls closing in, but then I saw his fishing hat on the shelf, faded and worn. Tough land, tough girl, he'd said. I straightened, wiping my eyes. I wasn't done yet. I drove to Old Man Pritchard's place that evening, a grizzled farmer Pa had trusted. He'd been at those county meetings too, quiet like me. Heard about the permits, he said, leaning on his porch rail. Clara's a snake. I nodded, throat tight. I need help, the equipment, anything. I can't wait her out. He scratched his beard, then jerked his head toward his shed. Take the backhoe. Seed drill too. Pay me when you can. His wife, Mary, pressed a thermos of coffee into my hands. Your pa believed in that river. So do we. Their kindness cracked something in me, relief, gratitude, a spark to keep fighting. Back home, I worked by floodlight, Pritchard's backhoe growling as I leveled ground for the dock, permits or not. If the county fined me, I'd deal with it later. The corn stood taller now, green and stubborn, like me. Jake swung by, saw the machine, and raised an eyebrow. Risky move. Clara's riskier, I shot back. She thinks she can bury me. He grinned, grabbing a shovel. Let's bury her plans instead. We dug into the night, the river rushing nearby, its voice louder with every rain. I felt it building, something unstoppable, if I could just hold on. The bank called next morning, loan approved, $50,000, enough to finish the fields and pay Jake's crew. I whooped, startling a crow from the barn roof. It wasn't much, but it was air in my lungs. I paid Pritchard first, his nod worth more than the money. Then Clara's lien hearing got scheduled. Tom said we'd win, Pa's ledger was ironclad, but it'd drag on weeks. I didn't care. I had momentum, allies, a plan. Evelyn's rumors still stung, but folks like Pritchard saw through them. The developers kept circling, $250,000 now, tempting when my account dipped to double digits. I held firm, picturing barges, not bulldozers. Rain started that night, steady and thick, soaking the fields. I stood on the porch, watching the river swell, its banks creeping closer. The dam wasn't here yet, but the water whispered promises. Clara's permit stunt could delay me, Evelyn's sabotage could starve me, but I'd outlast them. Pa's hat sat on the table, a silent cheer. I'd build this farm into something they couldn't touch, not because I had to prove them wrong, but because I knew what it could be. The stakes were rising, and so was I. Rain hammered the farmhouse roof as I stood at the window, watching the river churn under a bruised sky. It was early, too early for the news I'd been chasing, but my phone buzzed anyway, a text from Pritchard, turn on the radio. It's happening. I fumbled with Pa's old transistor, static crackling until the announcer's voice cut through. The Army Corps of Engineers has greenlit the Willow Bend Dam project, set to stabilize the river for shipping and recreation. Construction starts next spring. My knees buckled. I sank onto the couch, laughter bubbling up, raw and wild. The dam was real. The farm, my farm, was about to become the heart of it all. I grabbed my coat and ran outside, mud splashing my boots. Across the road, the town square buzzed, county officials in slickers, a news van with its dish pointed skyward, folks clutching coffee and hope. The mayor climbed a makeshift stage, megaphone in hand. New docks right off River Road, he boomed. Jobs, tourism, a fresh start for Willow Bend. My land. I scanned the crowd, spotting Jake waving me over. You did it, Lydia, he said, grin wide. They're all looking at your farm now. I nodded, chest tight with pride, but my phone kept buzzing. Clara, 5 missed calls. I ignored it. She'd hear soon enough. By noon, the developers were back, suits soggy but smiles sharp. The slick guy from before upped his offer, $2 million, cash, today. I crossed my arms. Not selling. He blinked, then tried charm. You're sitting on a gold mine. Let us build it. I shook my head, thinking of Pa's ledger, the dock I'd already started. Then a new face approached, tall, gray-haired, badge-reading river freight. Miss Harper, he said, voice steady, I'm Tom Ellis. We ship goods upriver. Your land's perfect for a base, docks, storage, the works. Partnership, not a sale. Keep your name on it. My breath caught. A partner, not a payout. What's the deal? I asked. He laid it out, $1.5 million upfront, plus profit shares, local hires guaranteed. I countered, Harper Farm stays the brand, and we supply small towns too, not just your routes. He paused, then nodded. Done. I signed the papers in the barn that afternoon, rain drumming overhead, the fresh paint smell mixing with wet earth. Jake witnessed it, slapping my back. Pa'd be proud. I smiled, but my mind raced, fields thriving, trucks rolling, the river alive. Clara's lien hearing was tomorrow. Tom said we'd crush it. Evelyn's rumors had faded as folks saw me pay Pritchard back with interest. The farm wasn't just surviving, it was winning. My phone lit up again, Evelyn this time, a text, call me. Urgent. I deleted it. They'd lost their chance to bully me. The square emptied as dusk fell, but I stayed, watching the river swell, its banks holding steady despite the downpour. The dam would tame it soon, and I'd be ready. River Freight's crew arrived next day, surveying the dock site, Pritchard's backhoe still there, a fine I'd paid with the loan. The corn stood tall, ready for harvest, and the barn hummed with potential. I was in the fields when a car horn blared, Clara's SUV, Evelyn in the passenger seat. They stepped out, faces pale. You knew, Clara spat, voice shaking. The dam, you played us. I shrugged, wiping dirt off my hands. I worked for it. You didn't. Evelyn clutched her purse. We're contesting the will again. This isn't fair. Fair? I snapped, anger flaring. You filed a lien, stalled my permits, trashed my name. Take it to court, lose again. They flinched, silent. River Freight's Ellis called me over, cutting the standoff short. We're fast-tracking, docks operational by summer. You're the anchor here. I nodded, turning back to my sisters. Go home. This is mine. They drove off, tail lights fading into the rain. I walked the riverbank alone, the water's roar a victory song. The $50,000 loan was peanuts now. River Freight's deal would clear it 10 times over. The farm's value had skyrocketed, but I wasn't selling out. Pa's dream was growing, and I'd made it real. That night, I sat on the porch, the river glinting under moonlight. The dam was coming, and with it, a new Willow Bend, my doing. Clara and Evelyn could stew in their regret. I'd fought their sabotage, their doubt, and won. The fields rustled, the barn stood strong, and the river rose, not to drown me, but to lift me up. Pa's faith had carried me here, and I'd carry it forward. A month after the dam news broke, I stood by the river, watching cranes hoist beams for the Harper Farm docks. The barn buzzed with River Freight workers, the fields swayed with ripe corn, and trucks rumbled in daily. Clara and Evelyn pulled up in a sleek black car, their faces drawn as they took in the transformation. My boots stayed planted in the mud as they approached, Clara's heels wobbling, Evelyn's designer coat out of place. You've been busy, Clara said, her usual edge dulled. I nodded, silent. Evelyn clutched a leather journal of Pa's, I realized with a jolt. We were wrong, she said, voice low. About the farm. About you. She handed me the journal. Pa came to us last year, showed us the plans for docks, crops. We laughed him off. I opened it, hands trembling. His sketches mirrored mine, docks along the river, fields feeding a town reborn. He knew, Clara added. Said you'd make it real. Tears stung as I traced his words. They asked to invest, minority stakes, no control. To honor him, Evelyn said. I studied them, saw regret in their eyes, not greed. Okay, I said finally. But my rules. They nodded, and for the first time, I felt their respect. A year later, Willow Bend thrived, shops lined the riverfront, kids played by the docks, and Harper Farm stood at the heart, a shipping hub and community anchor. I leaned on the porch rail, Pa's photo beside me, whispering, we did it. Clara and Evelyn pitched in now, their skills sharpening our growth, but they never overstepped. The river flowed steady, the dam's promise fulfilled, and I'd turned their mockery into something unbreakable. Lesson: Pa taught me value isn't what shines on the surface. Clara and Evelyn chased cash, blind to the farm's quiet potential I saw because I stayed, listened, believed. It looked broken, worthless, but sometimes the best things do. They laughed, sabotaged, doubted, but I built anyway, not for them, but for Pa, for me. Life's like that river, wild until you shape it. The real win isn't proving others wrong, it's seeing what they can't, holding on when they let go. Pa knew I'd fight for this land. That faith, that grit, it's worth more than any $sign. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. They laughed at my broken down farm until the river rose here on my YouTube channel. I hope Lydia's story hit you as hard as it hit me, proof that belief can turn nothing into everything. If you loved it, hit that like button, subscribe for more tales like this, and drop a comment. Would you have taken the farm or the cash? Let's keep the conversation going. See you in the next video.